Have you ever paused to wonder if something as seemingly harmless as a piece of fruit could potentially undermine your memory? It can be startling to consider that certain sweet, refreshing fruits may raise the risk of cognitive issues for seniors, especially those approaching or surpassing age 60. Dementia is a vast subject, but many people never connect the dots between their daily food choices and what happens to their brain over time. Today, we're going to explore the idea that certain fruits, particularly one exceptionally high in natural sugar, can disrupt healthy brain function when overconsumed. It might be sitting on your countertop this very moment. Before getting into details, it's helpful to understand that the aging process alone increases the likelihood of dementia, especially after age 60. Genetics play a role, as do chronic conditions such as hypertension or diabetes. But experts have seen more and more evidence that the foods we eat can either support or sabotage our brain's resilience. The simple truth is that some fruits, when loaded with sugar or particular compounds, can nudge the body toward patterns of inflammation and blood sugar spikes. Chronic spikes in glucose can create or worsen a state called insulin resistance, and that resistance doesn't spare the brain. Some seniors have trouble maintaining healthy blood sugar levels, which places them at greater risk for memory problems in the long run. For anyone wanting to remain alert and sharp as the years go by, it's important to recognize which fruits might be doing more harm than good. Many of us think of fruit as universally healthy, and we rely on it as a staple snack or a sweet treat in place of candy. Generally, that's not a bad idea, because unprocessed fruit can offer fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. However, not all varieties come with the same nutritional profile. A few stand out for their high fructose levels or for their naturally high glycemic index. When the glycemic index of a food is elevated, it means that after eating it, your blood sugar can soar more sharply and then crash. Those abrupt changes can strain the body's ability to regulate glucose, resulting in excess insulin release and potential insulin resistance, if these swings happen too often. Over time, persistent insulin resistance may accelerate deterioration in the brain. The fruit that often takes center stage in this debate is watermelon. It's beloved for its refreshing taste, yet it has a notably high glycemic index compared to many other fruits. This means it can raise blood sugar levels quickly and lead to a strong insulin response. While one slice here or there is usually fine for most healthy adults, a pattern of overconsumption, especially for someone who already has prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, can set up harmful blood sugar fluctuations. There's growing evidence that spikes in glucose can ramp up the formation of damaging plaques in brain tissue. Some researchers have observed that individuals with chronically high blood sugar levels and insulin resistance are more prone to developing certain memory and cognition issues. In seniors, the margin for error can be smaller because many older adults already cope with metabolic changes. Watermelon does offer vitamins A and C, along with a unique antioxidant called lycopene, so it's far from worthless nutritionally. However, the amount of sugar and the degree to which it can destabilize blood sugar remain cause for caution. Consuming a small portion on a hot day may be perfectly reasonable for someone in good health, but the idea of polishing off half a watermelon in one sitting should raise questions. The trick is in recognizing how much is too much and understanding your own risk factors. Seniors might talk to their health professionals if they're dealing with metabolic syndrome or insulin sensitivity, just to be certain they're keeping a safe balance. Still, Watermelon isn't the only high-sugar or high-glycemic fruit that might pose a risk. Pineapple is another example. It has a tangy sweetness that many enjoy, along with an enzyme called bromelain that can help with digestion. But pineapple is also loaded with fructose, which can be troublesome in large quantities. Fructose tends to go straight to the liver, rather than circulating primarily as glucose in the bloodstream. When someone consumes large amounts of fructose, it can contribute to the buildup of excess fat in the liver, which leads to insulin resistance. Chronic insulin resistance is considered a top driver of cognitive decline. With age, the brain may become less able to deal with repeated assaults from high sugar foods, and memory can suffer. Pineapple's bright, appealing flavor can be deceptive, making it easy to overeat. If a senior already has a family history of dementia or experiences ongoing blood sugar problems, it's wise to keep an eye on whether pineapple is slipping into the diet too frequently. There's also the issue of cherries. Many people prize cherries for their rich color and for the anthocyanins that give them antioxidant benefits. Those pigments are helpful for reducing inflammation, and it might seem contradictory to call cherries problematic. However, cherries concentrate significant amounts of sugar in a small package. A handful here or there generally isn't going to wreak havoc, but bowls of cherries every day can be an issue, especially for seniors who have trouble with glucose tolerance. When there's an overload of fructose and glucose to process, the body begins a chain reaction that involves not only the liver, but also the bloodstream and ultimately the brain. Some findings indicate that a persistently high-sugar environment can set the stage for destructive processes in brain cells, including more intense oxidative stress and inflammation. Moving on to mangoes, these are another fruit that many love for their creamy sweet texture. Mangoes can supply vitamin C and fiber, yet they're notoriously high in sugar, with much of it being fructose. As with pineapple, large quantities of mango can strain the liver's ability to process fructose and push the body toward insulin resistance. Elevated glucose levels over an extended period may contribute to a type of brain sluggishness, often described as brain fog. Seniors in particular might feel that their thinking isn't as clear, or that they tire more easily after eating foods that spike their glucose. While most fruits are fine in small or moderate servings, mango is among those that can deliver a big sweet punch, so portion sizes matter. Many older adults who grew up believing all fruit is harmless find it surprising to learn that some types can interfere with healthy brain function when eaten carelessly. Though less flashy, dried fruit can be a troublemaker too. Raisins, dried apricots, and dates are often touted as a quick energy source. They seem more natural than candy, but they're incredibly dense in sugar because the water has been removed. The glycemic impact from a small handful of raisins may surpass what many people expect, causing dramatic sugar spikes. Additionally, certain commercially dried fruits may have chemical preservatives like sulfites, which can further irritate the system for those sensitive to them. Dried fruit also has a sneaky way of making people lose track of how much they're eating. When the brain experiences one glucose surge after another, repeated day in and day out, neurons can be put under constant stress. Seniors, who might already be dealing with age-related reductions in insulin sensitivity, should consider limiting dried fruit or pairing it with sources of protein or healthy fats. Lychee occasionally appears on lists of potential brain health risks because of a particular toxin called hypoglycin A, which is more famously linked to certain outbreaks among undernourished children. Lychee is sweet and luscious, But if someone overdoes it, or consumes it when they're already in a weakened metabolic state, there's a chance of developing dangerously low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. Very low blood sugar directly robs the brain of its main fuel and can cause confusion or even unconsciousness. While most healthy adults needn't be terrified of a few lychees, seniors who are already on medications or who have irregular eating schedules might want to be mindful. The brain depends on a steady supply of energy. Any sudden disruption in sugar availability can make an older individual more vulnerable to acute mental lapses. Over time, metabolic imbalances reduce the brain's ability to keep up with everyday demands. Papaya is a tropical fruit that can benefit digestion due to the enzyme papain, and it provides vitamins A and C. The concern around papaya is its fructose load, along with pesticide residues. Even moderate pesticide exposure has been tied to neurological concerns, though it often goes overlooked. Repeated, low-grade exposure adds up, especially for older adults who may not detoxify chemicals as efficiently as they did in earlier decades. The body's detox systems are incredible, but they weren't designed to handle the variety and volume of modern synthetic compounds. If papaya is part of your diet, choosing organic and limiting excess intake can lessen possible risks. While the sweet flavor can be tempting, seniors may wish to combine papaya with sources of protein or fiber in the same meal. By doing so, the rise in blood sugar slows, and the subsequent insulin spike is gentler. In the case of coconut, the conversation gets more nuanced. It contains saturated fats, including medium-chain triglycerides, that might actually support energy in certain contexts. Some preliminary studies suggest that medium-chain triglycerides can sometimes protect neurons or help them function better. Yet coconut can also have a high saturated fat content that might negatively impact cardiovascular health, thereby affecting blood flow to the brain. In some individuals, especially older adults with atherosclerosis or other cardiovascular conditions, raising cholesterol levels might worsen circulation to the brain. Less circulation deprives brain cells of oxygen and nutrients. Though coconut is not always singled out for sugar content, its various forms, like coconut milk or coconut water, can still carry enough natural sugars to spike glucose if consumed in large amounts. Being thoughtful about the frequency of coconut-based products matters for seniors, especially those sensitive to cholesterol or sugar fluctuations. It's helpful to take a step back and recognize why such changes in blood sugar or inflammation hurt brain function. The brain relies heavily on fuel from either glucose or ketones. When the body can no longer regulate glucose properly, the brain may wind up starving for energy, even though blood sugar is high everywhere else. Additionally, chronic inflammation from sugar spikes or from toxins sets off a series of damaging processes in neurons. Over the years, small losses accumulate and memory worsens. Some seniors are simply more vulnerable, especially if they have a family history of neurodegenerative conditions. Others may already be dealing with mild cognitive decline. Knowing that some fruits might accelerate these processes can be an empowering step toward healthier choices. None of this means that anyone should abandon fruit altogether. Fresh produce carries a range of nutrients, and the fiber in most fruits can moderate sugar release. Many people find that adding more berries, citrus, or even avocados helps their brain and body without creating the same glucose roller coaster. Berries in particular have been associated with cognitive benefits thanks to their antioxidants, which help counteract some of the oxidative stress that otherwise speeds up aging. Meanwhile, Fruits like watermelon and pineapple can still be enjoyed, but it might be wise to keep the portion smaller. Seniors could experiment by pairing these fruits with a protein source, like nuts or yogurt, to slow the rate at which sugar enters the bloodstream. It also matters how often these fruits appear in one's daily routine. If a person is having them multiple times every single day, that might be setting up a pattern of chronic high sugar intake. Balancing it out with vegetables, healthy fats, and quality proteins can alleviate the burden. Some older adults discover that a low glycemic approach helps them maintain sharper mental clarity. On top of those dietary considerations, lifestyle factors can further protect brain function. Regular movement, consistent sleep, and continuing to challenge the mind with new activities are all supportive for older individuals who want to sustain a sharp memory. Another subtle aspect is the issue of pesticides. Many large-scale fruit farms use chemicals to manage pests. Some seniors already carry a larger internal burden of toxins from a lifetime of environmental exposure. Compounds like certain insecticides can have neurotoxic effects, meaning they damage or interfere with neurons. When you combine pesticide exposure with high fructose or sugar intake, you create multiple layers of stress in the body. Even if each factor alone is not devastating, taken together over many years, they may amplify each other's harmful effects. This is why older people in particular can benefit from paying a bit more attention to how their fruits are grown, possibly choosing organic when feasible. Washing produced thoroughly in running water can help remove surface residues, though it won't eliminate everything if the fruits themselves have absorbed pesticides. Some dismiss these concerns, saying they ate pineapple, cherries, or watermelon when they were younger without issue. However, as metabolism changes with age and insulin resistance develops in one's 50s or 60s, the same fruit intake can contribute to cognitive strain. The brain requires a steady energy supply with minimal toxin exposure. So many seniors benefit from being selective in their fruit consumption. How fruit is prepared plays a crucial role as well. Juices strip away fiber, causing rapid blood sugar spikes, while whole fruits release sugars more slowly. Dried fruits with their concentrated sugars may also cause problems if consumed in excess. Rather than fostering fear or guilt, it is important to focus on awareness. Enjoy fruit in moderation, monitor your body's signals, and adapt your choices to support long-term brain health.